man. It's not a game. So the song we doing now, homies, roll.
East side, roll with us, roll with us. West side, roll with us, roll with us. We rollin', 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 rollin'. East side, roll with us, roll with us.
It's up to me to open up other people's eyes and make them realize that it's more than this. It's just this right here.
He's no longer Soulja. He's Breeze now.
Soulja, but everybody call me Breeze.
All right, Breeze.
Hey, look, I got to give you the definition to this Breeze. I come through and I cool things down, and I'm right out the door.
And what does a breeze do? So in quantum physics, you drop a pebble in the pond, and the pebble ripples and ripples to the end of the lake. But it doesn't stop at the shoreline, right? It continues through the grass, through the trees, and creates a breeze.
Yep.
You are the pebble in the pond of creation, and using your podcast to bring it out to the universe.
Man.
Tell everybody about yourself. I owned a restaurant in Fairfield, Connecticut for 26 years. I bought it in 1989. I was 29 years old. And by the time I was 36, I was divorced with 2 baby boys. And I was on my own in every way, financially, physically, and emotionally. Bought myself this house in Westport. I got the Mercedes, the ski condo, the whole bit.
Yes.
But inside, I was a mess. I had panic attacks, anxiety, never felt good enough. And then I found Chardonnay. Oh, lordy, lordy. Thank God for Chardonnay.
Not the Chardonnay. Oh, man.
I got balls, right? But I'm a mess. I still think I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. I hate myself. So I go off in search of Eastern medicine. Now, this is about 1996 to 2005, and this stuff was voodoo back then. Best you could become was a Reiki master and a medium. So I took it. And I wasn't trying to become one. I just wanted to feel better. So after that, I owned the property that my restaurant was on, and there was a building behind it, which was my office and liquor room and food storage. And it got struck by lightning and burned to the ground.
Oh.
Now, in 2000,
Maybe that was
you got it. Divine.
the universe. Let you know.
But we didn't know that in 2005. So I built a building for zoning. And the next thing you know, I got the busiest wellness center in Fairfield County. And I had no idea how or why. I broke my arm, falling down a flight of basement stairs, and I went to a church, some healer. And they were from Australia, and I thought they were really amazing. And I said, hey, I own a wellness center. You want to come work there? And by their first set day there, I had 55 people at night, and I had them packed all day. So 2014, I go off to India. I come back. I'm not better. I go online, and I come across a gentleman known as Dr. Gabor Mate. Today, he is the world-famous trauma addiction doctor. At the time, he had just done his first TED Talks. And from that moment on, my life changed, because he said, it's not what's the matter with you. It's what happened to you. It's not why it's why the pain. And so he taught me how to go in there and not to be afraid of it. Next thing I know, I met Dr. Mitchell Gaynor, who was the #1 oncologist in New York City, and he was doing puja ceremony. People would go into his office for chemo, and he would give them chemo, but he would play crystal bowls and frequency. Einstein said, in the future, all medicine will be the medicine of frequency.
Explain a frequency to us.
So right above me,
Yep.
is the Dr. David Hawkins frequency scale. And what it means, it's a map of consciousness. So everything exists in our unconscious brain. 95% of the day, we use the unconscious brain. So anyway, I began to study Dr. David Hawkins. And that was the map. That's the map of consciousness. And so the frequencies, the bottom lower half of the frequencies, guys, I'm sure we could all understand. Blame, shame, guilt, greed, craving, addiction, fear, anxiety. But the top half, bottom of the top half is willingness, neutrality, acceptance, forgiveness. And where does the breeze come? The next part of the frequency scale. Wisdom, right? Reason and understanding. Love. Reverence. Gentleness, kindness, joy. And then if you go even higher up, if we're fortunate enough to go to 600 and above, we get to be in peace and bliss. And that was funny for me because I could get the whole scale, but I could never understand as a child of abuse, how was peace and bliss the same vibration? Because I thought peace was boring as all hell. Bliss, I thought meant everything was hot shit and happening really cool. But when I got to bliss or peace, when I got to peace, I was like, oh my God, this is
Yeah. They one in the same, yeah.
they one and the same. But I didn't get that for a long time. So I came home and I met Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza. Mitch, Dr. Gaynor introduced me to him. And for a couple of years, I studied the neuroscience of trauma. And I went straight into neuroscience and Western medicine. And then I came home and I created a form of modality of healing called the Colette technique, core trauma healing. And it's been trademarked now, coming on 12 years. And I do have a private practice and I do one-on-ones. And I also do a tremendous amount of service. In the years that I owned a restaurant, for 11 years, every Sunday morning at 10 a.m., I went underneath the highway bridge and fed homeless people. I started it and I loved every minute of it. And because of the access to the restaurant, all my clients would hear about it and they would say, what do you need? And I would say, I need a case of deodorant. I need a case of soap. I need a case of diapers. I need a case of baby formula. And I would walk with these cases in of clothing and supplies and food. And it was just the most extraordinary thing. So I've been really blessed, and my blessings are even greater because I have a 33-year-old and a 36-year-old boy, and they're both healthy. They have great souls. I don't think I could ask for anything else.
That's priceless.
Yeah.
And so I figure at the ripe old age here of 66, I figure that God is blessing me pretty good. Whatever the heck God may be.
You're not 66.
Did
Cut
you?
it out.
Come on.
67 in August.
Oh,
We got Wild Child.
that's
Wild child.
Hey, how
Hi.
you doing today? I'm all right,
Hey.
beautiful. Hey,
Nice to meet you, sir.
He's our preacher on site.
All right. All right. We need all the God we can.
I ain't a preacher. I ain't been ordained or touched by God to do that. But how you doing today, beautiful?
Thank you very much. You don't have to be ordained
I'm
by
trying to tell you, you ain't got to be ordained to do it. So what you talking about?
So you're a kind person. You're a good person. You do good deeds. You're already ordained.
I got some questions for you, beautiful. You say your boy's 36? Wow, you
Easy with the beautiful. Stop flirting, okay? Easy with the beautiful.
yes.
I got a 33-year-old and a 36.
Yes, you are beautiful, sister.
Easy.
Easy. Hey, Denise, I got a question for your technique for the core trauma healing. What is that?
There's a lot of trauma that I wasn't even aware of until I was in my 50s. A lot of sexual abuse that I didn't even know happened. And it's because your brain, your part of your brain called the amygdala, when shit happens, says, no, I never go in there again. Because it's a coping mechanism. Everything for your brain before the age of 7 is only an imprint. You don't have a hippocampus. You don't have anything that's going to be able to analyze. You don't. You only have an unconscious. So it's all imprint. So what did I get? Not good enough. It's unsafe to let your guard down. You know what I mean? You're not worthy and anybody can abuse you and don't have a need, right? So when you put these colors in, it gives the brain enough chance to relax. At that moment, we put some gold light in, this flashlight, and we ask the brain we find a part of the body where the trauma is. And when you put that light in and you have your body repeat, remember the brain is a computer. It's going to listen to anything you tell it to do. So we do this. So we say to the brain, we repeat after, buddy, show me what happened here. Something like that. Show me where it started. And all of a sudden, I'll use my clients as an example. Your client will say, gosh, I see myself in my childhood home, or I see myself on a playground, or I see myself in the back of a car, or I see myself on the street. It doesn't really matter. And you don't need any more information than that, even though you kind of got it. Because all you want to know is you got to remember that child didn't have anybody to help it. So what we need now is trauma isn't what happened. It's how you felt inside as a result of what happened, because it's a reaction, but you suppressed it. And in addition to that, it's how you felt inside because of what happened. And you didn't have an empathetic witness. And I'm stealing that from Dr. Peter Levine, without an empathetic witness. So we need to become the parent that we didn't have, the caretaker that we didn't have. So in that moment where that person says to me, I see myself in my childhood home, I go, great, let's bring the present day self there. Now you're there. We freeze everybody else. I don't need to be in the process of the abuse. All I want to know is, how do you feel? What do you feel? Because Einstein says no conflict can be resolved at the same consciousness in which it was created. That means we have to change the consciousness, the emotion that child felt. How do we change it? Now she's got a parent. She's got somebody that gives a shit.
Right.
Now, you're talking like internally, like when you say someone that really cares, let's say you're talking about the person, the adult person now,
It's the present day self.
the
versus
present day
becoming-
self that has to care. Okay.
But a lot of times, I don't know about you guys, but I'm the last one I care. So for me to bring those pieces back, there were a lot of them that didn't want to come because they were, you're not any safer than my mother. You're almost as much of a drunk as her. You don't take care. You don't love yourself. You don't feel
Is-
your needs. You feel everybody else's.
Is it wrong pouring into yourself more?
I work on it every day. It's not my greatest asset, but I'm much better at it. But only because I think a lot of the little girl.
Denise, I got a question for you. Coming from a person that was molested when I was little, what would be your answer? My answer for what was the cure for me was, after 15 years, I found forgiveness for that person.
That's huge. Huge. A lot of people can't do that. A lot of people, it takes a while. I couldn't forgive my mother for a long time. I could do the grandfather, the abuser,
But you try to forget.
but I could accept because I became an alcoholic just like her. I became a crazy woman just like her in my yelling, in my drunkenness. So you've done a ton of work, a ton. For me, what I had to do was tell that little girl that I would stop abusing her because I was shitting on her. Brain, you have neural networks, okay? So you have 80 to 100 billion neurons. Those are thoughts. Everybody watch me. A thought creates an emotion, right? What is an emotion? Energy in motion. Going right back here. What frequency is that energy in motion going to be? A thought, we have 60,000 thoughts a day. 90% of them are the 60,000 thoughts we had yesterday, the 60,000 thoughts we're going to have tomorrow, right? Okay. They have a gluey substance on the end of every one of those neurons. That is called a neural growth pattern. And these neurons stick together by having the same thoughts of the same vibration, same frequency. Okay. So let's say shame, blame, not good enough. And they glue together. They actually do glue together like this. But the way I want you to think about them is like this. So what happens is they run a ticker tape in your brain, right? You know how the ticker tape, same shit goes round and round.
Yep,
So
chasing
what
your
we
tail.
do in my work is I don't need every one of your experiences to pull out. Not at all. I just need to take that neural network, and I need, let's say it's connected like this. I need to get 1 or 2, 3 is my thing. I like to get 3 a session. Once you have that, these other guys don't know what to connect to because there's no roots. And so now those neurons, those neural growth patterns, those neural networks, and this is exactly how they look in the brain. They move just like this because now they're looking of something of the same vibration. We put in the higher frequencies, those neurons, and connect to that, and we run a new ticker tape that's in the state of love.
Like you
Anything-
bouncing on things? Is that what you're saying? Like you're creating a distraction?
No, you're creating a new thought pattern
Ah,
because the old thought pattern doesn't work.
I got you.
I had a client, she was a refugee. She's married to a woman. They had a couple of children, but she had horrible rage. And she said to me after her session, I don't know what you did, but I went to scream at my wife and nothing came out because there's no more program of hate.
Hey,
There's no
Denise,
like-
is this similar to what they're doing now to they're giving inmates now a choice to whether if they take out your certain memory?
Have you ever seen the prison circle experiment? So they take all the prisoners in the jail and they put them in the prison yard. and they put them in a circle. And then they'll say things like, how many of you were abused before the age of 18? Step forward. How many of you had a parent who was put in prison, was a drug addict, was an alcoholic? How many of you felt safe? How many of you felt loved? How many of you were in poverty? With each question, the people step forward. 97% of the prison is in the middle.
Denise, I got a question for you.
Yes.
Is it possible, and I know it's possible, to take something that happened to you really bad and you put it in the back of your head to where as though you don't remember it at all, and something like 10 or 15 years later, a spark that trauma to come right on the front page?
I was talking about that earlier. So my grandfather abused me as a newborn, and then he didn't live with us until I was 3. So then again, from the age of 3 to 5, I had zero memory of it until I was in my early 50s and I had my first trauma healing. But here was the fascinating part, guys, right? Here's that unconscious brain. When my children were 3, I was terrified somebody was going to abuse them. I wouldn't put them on a school bus. I drove them to school. I picked them up after school. Terrified. Now, my sisters weren't abused, so they thought I was a lunatic because the abuser always knows who to abuse. Child is unprotected.
And Denise, I'm like that to this day. I'm so overprotective of my kids, especially my girls. I don't want you around nobody. I don't care if you're a family member.
Again, remember, trauma's not what happened. It's how you felt when it happened. Let's remember this, very important. The body remembers what the mind forgets. Remembers what the mind forgets.
I got a lot more questions.
May I ask you a quick question before you move on? Because I'm curious.
I forgot you and love you. I saw you popping in.
No, I'm listening. I'm interested in you expounding on manifestation.
Quantum physics, absolutely. So your brain is electric by nature. You have a thing in your brain called the pineal gland. If you were to put a string from here to here and here to here, it's exactly where it intersects. This little pineal gland moves like this. These are little hair-like antennae. At the bottom here are paper-thin calcite crystals, paper-thin, 6-sided hexagon. And they move like plate tectonics. Plate tectonics is what makes earthquakes. So what happens is when the cerebellum fluid, the spinal column fluid, Western medicine, Kundalini, Eastern medicine, right? Same thing, goes and hits those calcite crystals, they move, which makes this. This is how you send the information out to the universe. I have the love of my life, right? Whatever it is, I have perfect health, whatever it is you want. But it is the heart, guys. It is the heart that is the magnetic field. And if the magnetic field is not open, you can put all those intentions you want out. It's not coming in. You got to feel as if it already occurred, because what is it that you really want? Do you really want the $10 million in the bank, or do you really want to have the way it feels to have the $10 million in the bank? The freedom, the safety, the peace. Do you really want the love of your life to be with you every day? Or do you just want to feel that passion? Do you just want to feel somebody hug you? Do you really want? It's the feeling. It's the way we want to feel when that happens.
Now, is it similar to sports psychology where the athlete will start to imagine what does it feel like to win? So there's a whole psychology behind it. You know what I'm saying?
They'll absolutely see themselves going over the goal line. I got 2 captains of a high school and college football team for kids, right? I don't think those boys knew. I remember one of their coaches saying when they won the state, saying they weren't the greatest talented team, but they willed every game.
And Denise, this is basically the same thing as faith, the things to hope for, right?
It's faith, but it's faith by saying, okay, God created us, right? So God gave us a brain and a vehicle in which to use it to create heaven on earth, as above, so below. What is the sacred vortex? What are the 7 cardinal directions? East, west, north, south. above, below, within.
Got it.
Got
So-
it?
But so faith in action.
I think the same thing.
A lot of horrible things happen in this world, and sometimes you can't even explain why. I don't know. How do you lift yourself out of?
Don't you think that we all who are willing to serve God, that we all, and I think all of us take that position really not lightly and are honored, that we all understand that look at what happened to Jesus, and that I couldn't have become a healer and been able to serve all these people because when these people sit across from me and they talk about sexual abuse or they talk about addiction or they talk about trauma or self-hate, I'm right there going, oh yeah, no, exactly what you feel.
I like that.
Right? So we give, we receive the wisdom, the guidance, and the knowledge. So when I pray, I don't pray for money. I pray for the wisdom, the guidance, and the knowledge of how to have the gifts of abundance from the divine. Right?
Hey,
Right.
Denise, excuse me. How do you feel about trauma, like skeletons in your closet? Everybody want to keep your secrets and your trauma locked in the closet. Do you think that it's a good thing that people are showing their trauma and letting it out, also with the next generation seeing it and marking it and not really knowing the concept of it?
Most important one to me is what did you get having it locked in there? How'd life work out? Not quite well. Not for me, because I had to down all that pain with Chardonnay. Because even though I don't know why that pain's there, because I don't remember the trauma at the time, I'm still in the pain. And as children, we understood that we had to find a way to keep ourselves safe. So we can't keep ourselves safe wallowing in what might be fair enough self-pity for the trauma that occurred. We got to get into survival mode. We got to get into hypervigilance. We got to take care of ourselves. We got to stay on our game and ready to fight at any minute, right? Or I'm going to do freeze and fawn. So we talk about fight or flight. Who are we going to fight with? Where were we going to go? Survival.
Denise, I thank you. I thank you so much. You have no idea how really you have opened up my eyes to a lot of things. And by you just giving me that concept on, I had to let my skeletons out the closet for me to heal. And maybe that's the beginning of a lot of people healing and finding their way by letting it out.
Because the generation before us couldn't do it.
It caused a lot of pain.
They caused a lot of pain, but think about the generation before them. They came from the Depression. They came
That was
from
up.
slavery. They came from
Yeah.
my parents came from severe poverty. And
Yeah.
my father made a deal with himself that he would never be poor again. And so what did he become? A workaholic. Workaholic. So he neglected his kids. So he caused a lot of trauma in that. He became an alcoholic, of course. He had his own trauma. But he also became the person who became an abuser, not sexually, physically. I remember a time I could still hear when he beat my brother. I loved my brother, but my father was so poor, his parents had to give him away to great granddaddy and great grandma because they couldn't feed two kids. So they don't have time to think, is my mental health good? And their job was not to make sure I was emotionally well in there because they didn't have that experience. Their
You
job
have
was
to
to make sure I
close
had
about
a roof,
roof
and
over
clothing,
your-
and a food. Right?
Your father was a very successful CEO of a company, but so his thing is success of I have a home, I have a nice home, I'm at least feeding and giving clothes to kids. That's success.
Hey, then what do you call a life living success? What do you call
Well,
a person success in life? Do you define it by material or spiritual?
spiritual. I have a lot of very multimillionaire clients, but a lot of these rich people that come to see me, they're miserable. And I don't mean just from trauma because that's my job, but as human.
Hey, Denise, how did that go with the lightning hitting your food truck?
No, I owned a restaurant for 26 years. It was the building behind my restaurant, which was my
Okay.
office, got struck by lightning and burned to the ground. But again, we didn't have that information back then about divine.
Yeah.
So I just was building another building for zoning. No idea how it became the busiest wellness center in Fairfield. Upstairs. I'm writing a book. People say to me, what are you going to do with it? I said, I don't think that's my job. I think it's my job to write it. I think upstairs has got to take care of the rest.
That's what I meant about the anointing and the preacher. That's what I meant when I said.
And guys, let's be honest. If we want to talk faith, which we are, every one of us are connected by soul right now. And there's a reason that we're all here right now. There's a reason Kathleen put us together. There's a reason. You know it. I know it. You know it. We know it.
Yeah, Denise. And Denise, what is guru?
Guru means spiritual teacher. Gu means remover. Ru means negative energy. Guru, remover of negative energy.
That's what
But a good guru will tell you gurus right here. But I have a guru in India. I have Jesus here and Mary here on my altar. I have Buddha to my left. I have Mother Gaia, Mother Earth right there. I have the feathers here. I have a lot of love here. I'm really blessed. I'm blessed.
I got a question before you leave.
Now, we have a lot of questions.
I got a question before you leave.
Let's do it again another day.
All right.
Part two.
Part two. Yeah, let's do it.
I got one question.
Quick.
You ever know somebody that needs a little bit of adversity, it probably make them a better person?
That needs a little what?
Somebody that got everything that probably needed a little bit of trauma that probably would have made them a better person. I see that every day.
I don't want to mention any names.
Not yet.
Absent family.
Yeah, we can say that for part two.
I want to hear it.
Now we want to hear it.
No, he wants to hear from the top. He wants to hear from the top.
All for the marbles.
Let him know.
My heat be the ways of living in the street. The Nina Raws give cause to break laws when we flaws. Off the red, evil thoughts into my head. I'm supposed to be dead to what the doctor said. But instead, I choose the ways of busting off lead. With the clip that rip the hollow tips in your shit. From my mind to my nine when I hung up crying at one time. I do the hustle on my grind. That seems fine, I do the hustle.
Oh, wow. I could not believe that the song turned out like that. We hustle in this life, poverty, living life in a wheelchair, injustices, but at night we dream, we walking in the sky, look at us now, no chains, a world we never saw before. Tomorrow ain't promised to you, so dream with us, roll with us.